Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Sredna, nature and fantasy artist, and I love to share my art process videos with you all. Some blogs, or vlogs, I guess, tutorials, and just anything that I'm like, this would be art related and would be really fun to share. So in today's video, I am just gonna be going around the garden, showing y'all what's going on there. I had made some coffee this morning and then I dried out some mint, so that's what I have on the counter. And now I have some delicious apple strudels to go along with the coffee. And when the weather gets nice out here, it's so nice to just be outside just because for so much of the year we do have to be inside because of the cold and stuff. So whenever it's warm out, I am sure to take full advantage of the fact that there is no snow on the ground for sure. And also around this time, I get plant fever, so I just want to plant like a ton of things. So I had got some, actually my daughter picked out those pink flowers, and then I also got some yard decor like this little ladybug, and I'll show y'all around. So I have some chard at the bottom there, and I had planted that because the plants that I put there last year did not come back, and I had things like thyme and like rosemary and stuff. There's a little bit of chives in this one that's already going. I forget, there might have been, maybe that whole thing was like full of chives. And then over here, there's like mint in the corner, but then I replanted some spring, like salad lettuce. And then over here, I made like a little herb corner, so it has some cilantro and some dill in there. And I also put some extra lettuce over there. The thing with the red, that would have housed my tomato plants, but they did not grow back this year. Over here we have the raspberry bushes that my friend Sarah gifted to us a year or two ago. I think they're 2 years old now. So they're still growing, and maybe next year they'll start producing. And we have this lovely tree that I forgot the name, maybe like lilacs. I know we have like purple like lilacs to the side of this one, and then there's these ones have the white flowers, so I don't know, maybe they're white lilacs or something like that, but they smell so good. And I also like to dry the flowers and then hang them around the house as well, and they only bloom for such a small amount of time. I swear, like if you blink you'll miss them. So here's where I had put some more mint plants, and then also some soon to be planted other flowers. I think it's like maybe like a brown-eyed Susan or something like that, for that yellow one. And then my little hedgehog, and half of his glasses came off. Wonder where the other part is. I was in the middle of mulching this area, and I think last year I had done like the red, and I was like, oh, I love this, but then this year I got the black, so I'm like slowly trying to turn it over to black. And then there's like some wild violets, and I'm not sure what this plant is, but this is a new one this year. And I put little seashells here too, because we had so many shells that we have when we go to the Florida beaches, and then we bring them back, and but then we're like, wait a second, what do we do with all of these? So I was like, well, I can put them in the garden and do kind of a mulching, use them, that kind of situation. And I think for now too, they kind of let me know like where I've planted seeds, so then I know like where to water and stuff. And it's such a beautiful day outside, so many trees bringing in lots of shade and all this fluffy grass. And I have some ferns over there that I'm really proud of. I always call them my dinosaur plants. And I have this bird feeder here, but the top comes off a lot because the squirrels get to it. So they climb up there. They also eat the bird seed when they can, and then scurry off when they hear me coming. Last year, so there was like a stalk over there. I had planted some green tomatillos, and those ones did not come back, unfortunately. They grew so well and they looked so healthy that I thought they'll come back, but plants just have to be like super duper hardy here. So it's been a learning process because we have such a short growing period. So we have like about 4 months out of the year that we can grow things. And so like trying to like put things out and then see what grows. And then sometimes like, because that's a pretty long time for the plants to like hibernate, and they also have to like protect themselves in the winter. So then, yeah, by the time it's, I'm gonna even say summer because our springs are a little iffy here. So like this spring, I mean, it was snowing in April. So May, things cleared up, but then it was already June, you know what I mean? So it's like the feeling of spring. It felt like winter to summer kind of thing. And so with the short period, it just takes like really hardy plants. And I'm seeing, I mean, there's some stuff I've read online like, oh, these plants survive in, I think we're in zone 4, the zone 4 climate, and these varieties do and stuff. But it's hard to get those exact ones. I think like in the stores, you don't. I tried to look a little more for that information, but usually I just go into the store and then I just check their little card that says what zone it's in. And last year, I'm not sure I did it that much because I wasn't, yeah, like looking out for that too much. But then this year, since like some stuff didn't come back, I was like, okay, let me look at those cards and see which ones do they say are hardy for my zone, and like also which ones like do come back, because there's annuals that only bloom once for the whole year and then you have to replant everything. And then there's the perennials, which I love. I am definitely on a perennial kick now. So the ones where you plant them once, you kind of like baby them in the beginning, but then after that they should be pretty good to go by your natural like cycle of rain and heat and snow and all of that stuff. So I am really happy about peonies grow really well out here and they come back every year. So that's a plant I always look forward to seeing every year. Well, I'm all done with my snack, so I will drop that off, and then I'm going to grab a fun little surprise for you all. They're these cute little caterpillars. And we have this net so that like we just bought it once and then we can just use it every year and just keep getting more caterpillars to grow. And it's funny because our cat's name is also Caterpillar, so she gets a little confused around this time. So it is now time to water some things. So I'm using this hose that is connected to my rain barrel that we put up last year. So we, you know, those like, I don't know, pipes that come down from the house, rain gutters or rain spouts. We like cut one that was coming down from the house, and then we put the rain barrel like right under it, so then it just like pours into the rain barrel instead of on the ground. And it's been working out. Like when it rains a lot or when there's a bit of a dry spell, then it's nice to have the barrel and use the water, because really like these plants will take rainwater just fine. So I was like, well, it'd probably be a good idea to collect some of it. And Aaron was even saying it'd be nice to have like the rain barrels a bit more strategically placed. Now where we have it, it's under a rain spout that I think it goes from like the top of a porch down the side of the house, so it doesn't collect that much rainwater. But we also have some other spouts around, and some of them go to like the very roof of the house. So then those ones, like when it rains, it like pours down a lot more. It goes through there. So that would it would collect like a ton of water over there too. So I was thinking we could add maybe like another barrel, because sometimes it does get pretty dry for a couple weeks, and it'd be nice to have some, yeah, stored up water there for a bit. So here I'm gonna move over this chard because you can see like this tiered container I have going on. So when I'm trying to think, oh yeah, I got it last year and I thought like, oh, it'll be so easy to set up and work out well. But I don't know if it's the design of it or the placement, but I just haven't had my plants grow really, really well in there. And I think there's a bit of an issue with like light getting to these plants. And I think the drainage too is not the greatest. The water does seem to just sit in the bottom of these rectangle bins. So yeah, I'm just gonna move this poor plant. It came from its own little, box and stuff, and then into there and then into this place. But hopefully this will be its final home and we'll have some chard. And my daughter has already tried some of the leaves and she really likes them cooked. She was like really surprised the flavor when I made them. I cooked them with, I think, like olive oil and some garlic, and they were really delicious. So for you all, are there some plants that you like to have around this time of year that you like to plant as soon as it's spring out where you are, or summer, or look forward to that? I was also thinking about getting into greenhousing perhaps, because that would be a way to extend the growing season where I live. So maybe instead of just 4 months being able to have things to plant, maybe I could, do it for maybe double that or something, or even year round. Kind of depends, but that might be a fun thing to do. I think it would have to be pretty, let me see, like airtight, I guess. The greenhouse that I do, like it would have to be able to really keep in the heat. Well, I'd have to be able to generate heat somehow, and then for it to retain that heat and like not escape too much and make it like super warm. So I feel like that requires some thinking and research and some troubleshooting here and stuff. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna move out the mint. So those are like the mint stalks. Oh, I guess I'll put some lettuce over there. Those are the mint stalks that they'll grow back. Mint is really good about that. And I could just move those roots and stuff over to like another area. But I already have so much mint that I'll probably just toss it. But I'm gonna move it because I want to have some room for some more plants over there, another type of plant. And so I'm gonna plant zucchini over there. And this is a new plant for me. The one I just put down is gonna have banana peppers. So that will be a fun one. Okay, so with greenhousing and all that, I'm like, okay, if I, the stuff I'm doing with the plants now, it's like I go out for a couple months, put them all out here, but then, half of them are gone by the next year. But then if I did a greenhouse, then, I could plant things and just keep enjoying them for a while. So I was thinking about the intricacies there. And I have seen some greenhouse designs. I've seen like some dome designs that look good for when there's like a bunch of snow, and how they'll kind of like roll off the sides and won't, I don't know, have your like put too much weight on your structure, because that could be an issue if you have like a very flat roof or something. Although I don't think many greenhouses have that style, but because we get so much snow, it can get really heavy. And so to not put stress on the structure, I think some sort of sides that like slope downwards, or even a dome structure would be nice. And I have been looking at some Canadian designs, because they have a pretty similar climate to us. And I mean, Canada's like just north of us. So, and we're like in the middle, I guess, of the country. So it's like, since we're not like near the coast, I think when you're near the coast you get a bit more reasonable temperature, but like once you get to like the middle inland and stuff, you can get like a lot of winds and a lot of snows. Well, north too. So I'm just trying to look at what would be good for this type of climate. And the other thing I was looking at is, how do I let, I guess, like air escape or like get some nice ventilation? Because when you, like, let's say have the structure and then it's super, airtight, but then like the plants, like want some fresh air. Like, I don't see how you can't give them fresh air. Like, it just seems like they would need some sort of aeration flowing throughout, because if it's too warm or too wet and stuff, then you can get maybe like a bit of mold or just not, so I'm just trying to, plants like they like airflow, and they need some fresh air. So I'm thinking, how would we add some sort of window structure there? And then for the heating portion, I mean, it needing to have electricity and all that, I think I would go solar powered. But yeah, again, I'm not sure how to hook it up in this type of climate. I don't even know. So like lately, so I've been going through like all this stuff with like, okay, I want to make, have a longer season for plants. And I'm like, okay, this greenhouse. But then like all the intricacies of it, I'm like, oh my goodness, like this could be, I mean, this is going to take like probably years to, it could take years to like figure out, because you have to build the structure and then like, some things will work, some things won't, and then see what you need to add and all the other stuff. And I think for the climate we have, that of course it would be a lot easier in a climate that is warmer, more of the year and things like that. And I was also thinking of like, due to the climate too, there was, trying to think, we had these like, so we have these fruit trees in the front, and we had planted them last year, and there were like 2 apple varieties. There was a sour cherry and an apricot, I think. And the critters, I guess, had gotten to it. So I guess I don't think we had any deer, just because we're on like a busy road. So we don't usually I haven't seen a deer in the front yard. I have seen a deer in the backyard, but not the front of our house where the trees are. But we do have like lots of rabbits and stuff. And so I guess what they had done was they had used the snow as kind of like a step, and then they got to the bark of the tree, and then they were like chewing it and stuff. And so they ate so much of it that the tree basically like stopped growing, because it couldn't move the nutrients like past that like stripped bark area. So it like stunted it. And so when I was talking to people about like what to do for trees and things like that, they were telling me about these like little barricades or little rings you can put around the trunk, and that should help it. And there's also like some tins you can do and just other things. But I've just really been wondering lately, I'm like, is this all worth it? Like all the things, that I want to be able to do, but then it being so hard, just because of the climate and stuff around here. And I'm trying to think, I lived in North Dakota, I feel like we're coming up on like 5 years here. And before that, I did live here 2 years, maybe. I'm trying to think. In the region, in Minnesota too. So maybe like 3 years. So I don't know, maybe, we're coming up on 8 years or something. But I'm just really thinking about, past the 10-year mark, like if I could really see myself, just continuing to live in this type of climate. And I honestly think I would rather do a place that's a bit warmer. I mean, I grew up in Maryland and California, so I'm familiar with like the East and the West Coast. And then I've traveled a lot to, but I mean, California would be great, but it's just too expensive. And then I do like Maryland, but I'm not sure I like it that much to kind of like move back to. But for sure, if I had unlimited funds, I would definitely just get a house by the beach in California and call it a day. But something that might be, I don't know, something similar to that kind of experience is in Florida. So when we like have visited Florida and stuff, we've really enjoyed our time there. We go to the beach a lot, and we like going to the amusement parks, of course, but like there's also like lots of other things to do, like the water parks and lazy rivers and the botanical gardens. And so I didn't get to it last time, but I think next time I'll add it to our itinerary. But there's this fruit, well, it might be like fruit and nut farm or like this like very big orchard where they have it open to the public, and so you pay for your ticket and then you can just eat as much stuff as you want from whatever has fallen from the trees. And I thought that was such a cool idea, and wow, I would stuff myself with all this fruit. And I just love that there's a like tropical climate down there, so that it makes a nice growing season for like a ton of plants. So like up here, I'm limited to usually more like sour fruits like cherries and stuff, but down there I could definitely grow like sweet varieties and yeah, just basically anything. I mean, we could probably have a banana tree, I don't know, mango, definitely avocado, because I already know those ones grow well around here, or I mean in other parts of the US where it's warm. And yeah, I'm just like, oh my gosh, we could do so much. And Aaron was excited about it too, because he was pretty bummed out that his trees didn't exactly survive. But I do think I mean, when you're like planting, and especially when it's a new variety that you haven't had experience with before, it is a learning process. So it's like, okay, what is this plant like? What are the critters of this plant? You know, what do I have to fight for this to survive? What do I have to do to, you know, have a nice bountiful harvest? And this that I just gathered is going to make a delicious mixed herb salad with all the different dill and cilantro and spring salad mix in there. So pretty excited about that. I do wish I had some tomatoes to add to it, but maybe if I'm just somewhere warmer, then I don't have to worry about my tomatoes dying after a few months or whatever it is. So, but yeah, that has been on my mind. And something else that's been on because I just love being outdoors so much that, you know, at some point I'm just getting probably a little tired of kind of having to be inside. And then something else that's been getting to me is, as I've been trying to grow my career as an artist, I've noticed that, you know, there's some roadblocks in the way, and sometimes I can move past those, or sometimes I can just like, you know, work hard enough to just kind of, you know, that those are not like an issue, you know, like if it's something where it's like, okay, well, if I, you know, have to, you know, get ready for a show, then I need a certain number of art at the show, and then I can make that, and then I'm there and we're good, bam. But for me, it's the availability and the opportunities to have my art at various shows that I feel like I am lacking with where I currently live. Like there's just not as many opportunities for me to get out there and show my art, and for me to, you know, like connect with a lot of other people who are doing this professionally as well. So that's kind of another thing that's been on my mind for why I might want to move at some later time. So So we'll see. We've lived with the kiddos in, well, we started off, I guess, in Minnesota. Then we did Seattle. And then now we're here in North Dakota. So who knows? Florida could be on our next move. Or I don't know, some other place. But yeah, just thinking about that. Well, everyone, thanks so much for watching this video and listening to my thoughts about all the things that popped up. It was a really nice day to be outside, and I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.